Bay County, this is our home. This is where we work, where we learn, where we play, and where we worship. And as a church, it is the starting point, the epicenter for the mission that God has called us to help people find and follow Jesus and His purposes for their lives. This has always been and will always be the driving force behind everything that we do. And while the things we do might change from time to time, we are committed more now than ever to make sure that everything we do brings the goodness of God into the brokenness of the world that is around us. We live in a broken world, surrounded by broken lives, broken relationships, and broken systems. This brokenness is seen in suffering, violence, pain, poverty, and death around us. Brokenness leads us to search for a way to make life work. So each of us have decided to choose our own way of doing things over God's way, and this sin has separated each of us from God. So we've all been broken. In fact, Bay County is broken. But the good news is that God's plan was never for any of His people to live in brokenness. And out of His love for us, He sent His Son, Jesus, to live a perfect and blameless life and to die in our place. And when He rose from the grave, He once and for all gave us a way out of brokenness if we'd only believe in Him. This is the good news. Jesus Himself is the goodness of God that came to heal the brokenness of the world. So if we are committed to bringing the goodness of God into the brokenness of the world, that means that we must be a church that is first devoted to Jesus, being with Jesus, becoming like Jesus, and doing as He did. We've always been a place that seeks to serve the community by being the hands and the feet of Jesus. But the ways in which we do that have always got to shift into the biggest needs of our area. One of the ways we used to do this was by being a church unlike any others in our area. We called this Come and See. We believed that the best way to reach a person for Jesus was to invite them to a worship service and pray that they would have an experience with God. And many did and still do. It is vitally important that we meet weekly with other believers in celebration and corporate worship. We always continue to have church services that magnify the goodness of God. In fact, this year we have set specific attendance goals to make sure as a healthy congregation and a growing congregation, we meet those goals. We want to pack God's house out each and every week. But we also are aware that church services alone are no longer the best and most effective way to reach people who don't yet know Jesus. The fact is, people no longer are interested in going to church on their own to find out about following Jesus and what that means. So how do we reach these people? How are we as a church going to bring the goodness of God into the brokenness of the world around us? Well, here's the plan and here's the answer to that question in 2025 and beyond. We believe that one of our biggest assets are our facilities. We call them third spaces, places that serve the needs of the community, spaces and places for people to meet. After Hurricane Michael, we made the decision that we would not rebuild if it were only to have church services. That's why we have partnered with the DRIP and countless other organizations to allow use of our facilities, often at no charge for them. People that normally wouldn't step inside of a church are coming to our facilities weekly. We want to find common ground, start a conversation, and make a connection with these people. Because we were thinking about the community and outside use, many of our rooms have been designed to be multiple use areas. This includes our elementary large group room. There are weekly events in this space, families, movies, story times, parties, etc. We want those things to continue. After the hurricane, we had record numbers of young families and kids coming to church. Our original kids space is no longer big enough for us to continue to reach young families. We want to give our kids a space that wows them every time they come to church. We want kids to be excited to bring their friends with them. We are also extremely low on space on Sunday mornings. For all the above reasons, we will be building a new kids space. God has opened a door for us. The property behind us has currently come available. And we are so grateful. We hope in 2025 to close on this piece of property. Now, the reason that we're excited is because we have an opportunity to create a space that is beyond anything that any of us have ever imagined for our kids. In fact, I can't wait for you guys to see kind of the dream that we have and what God's going to do for this space. We're excited because we know that this is going to be a new season for our church, and that we are going to have the opportunity and the possibility of reaching more young families and more kids for the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. As many of you know, this past year we bought the old Sonny's Barbecue building. And because of our desire to share the facilities with the community, we have sacrificed office space for our staff. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this new office space. This building not only will hold staff offices, but small group space, counseling space, for Bay County headquarters, and the strike kitchen for Mercy Chefs. We're also building this beautiful outdoor courtyard area for events like parties or weddings, concerts on the green, and etc. It's going to be an exciting space that we're going to be proud to use to serve our community. Let me talk about our other campuses. We want to continue the upkeep of the Callaway, the Panama City Beach campus to be able to help serve the needs as they come up in our community. We have allowed 2 different churches to use the Callaway campus. In fact, one continues to hold their offices there. We've also hosted different kinds of events at the Panama City Beach campus, like children's plays, small groups, leadership event trainings, and even SWAT training for the Bay County Sheriff's Department. We want to think about what's next or what's after next. God may tell us to start campusing again, and if that happens, we want to be ready for it. In fact, we've already been brainstorming ideas and preparing as a staff, and if God tells us to open the Callaway campus or the Panama City Beach campus, we will be immediately ready to do that. Let me talk about digital ministry for a moment. Now, this just involves like our online campus and things we do with video. While it's true that people who don't go to church are unlikely to come in person on their own, they are more likely to check us out online and make a decision on whether or not they're going to visit based on our online services and website. That's why these are so vitally important. This is great because it means when they visit for the first time, they are ready to immediately get connected in a group or by serving. We want to increase the quality of what we're doing online and find better ways to interact with people who are checking us out. You can think of it this way. Online has now become the lobby. It's actually the first engagement that people have with us. Therefore, we're going to have to invest in equipment and staff to make sure that we are doing everything we can to reach those who have not come here yet. All of this growth is great, and it means that we have specific needs. Let me talk about staffing just for a moment. Fort Bay County has grown to the point where we need to hire a full-time director. Our facilities are being requested at a rate that requires us to hire someone to manage those reservations. We have a growing family ministry and will need a new family ministries pastor to help lead us into the future. Now, these are just a few of the staffing needs that we have. God is working, doors are being opened, and opportunities are in front of us every day. We just want to be obedient. And so this year, as you give to the Christmas offering, one of the things that we're believing is that as you give, you're giving to the future of Northstar.Church. We believe God is getting ready to do some great things. And we know that we're going to have the staff in place in order that we can be ahead to meet those needs and to make sure that we continue to bring the goodness of God into the brokenness of the world that is around us. Let me talk about our community. I love our community, and everything we do in the community is meant to serve and to build trust. You see, we find common ground that leads to connections that result in meaningful conversations. Whether it's serve days, trunk or treat, movie night in December, a Christmas snow day, relief efforts, small business events, feeding teachers, sponsoring schools, partnerships, and much, much more. We want to continue to do all of this, except we want to do it better and with a larger impact. You see, we don't know what God has in store for the future of Northstar.Church, but what we do know is that He holds the future. And if we obey Him, We know that our best days are in front of us. Because of you, we are making a difference. Because of you, lives are being changed every day. And because of you, the goodness of God is being brought into the broken places of our world. Northstar, let's join hands together and let's continue to make a difference in the lives of the people that are outside the walls of this church.